Good evening, everyone. Respected Principal of Dr. K.B. Hedgewar Higher Secondary School, Shri Deepak Amonkar Sir. Keynote speaker for today's webinar, Ms. Sangeeta Abhyankar. My colleagues of Hedgewar Higher Secondary School, parents, and my dear students. Warm welcome to all of you to this webinar, jointly organized by Mastermind and Life Skill Development, Sports, Yoga, and Health Development Committee of our institution. We at Dr. K.B. Hedgewar High Secondary School strongly believe in overall personality development of our children, and for that purpose, we conduct various programs, activities throughout the year. It may be arranging talks by different faculty or arranging workshops, seminars, or giving first-hand experience of doing business under Commerce Lab, etc. At this challenging time, where students are unable to be present in school physically, we try to reach out to our students through various online mode activities. Today, we all are here to ponder over the topic, holistic approach towards healthy lifestyle. I'm sure all of you will agree with me if I say our lifestyle has changed completely in last 1.5 years. Now, the question is, we need to know a lot about this topic. Is it a healthy lifestyle we live? What approach do we have with our lifestyle? We need to know various aspects of this, and that is exactly why we have involved parents also in today's talk. As you all know, the saying goes, healthy mind dwells in healthy body. Now, what we eat determines what we think, and what we think tells us or motivates us to act, and what we act, we get the result. There is a connection right from what we eat till what we get the result. So to discuss various aspects of this topic, we have with us a very versatile personality of Goa with us to discuss on this topic. And I request my colleague, Mrs. Supriya Desai, to introduce our keynote speaker to all of us. Over to Supriya Desai.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everybody. I'm glad to introduce my ex-colleague, Ms. Sangeeta Abhyankar, teacher in biology at GVM's High Secondary School, Ponda. To begin with, she is the chairperson of Jitnasa Science Center, Ponda, chairperson of Swaranand Speech Therapy Center for Born Hearing Impaired Children, executive president of Shri Sharda Granth Prasarak Sanstha, Ponda, life member of Vigyan Bharati, life member of Vigyan Parishad Goa, coordinator of Vigyanika at India International Science Festival 2021, hosted National Science Teachers Workshop at IISF 2020, Lucknow, core team member, content coordinator, and academic committee member of Vidya Bharati Vigyan Manthan, active in literary field as organizer of state-level women's literary meet for past 20 years, and also as a writer, editor, and poet. Contributed to cultural field as orator, interviewer, anchor, compare, short filmmakers, and quiz master. Conducted various workshops on comparing and oratory. She has received several awards. They are Indian Medical Association Plaque for contribution to society, felicitated by Governor of Goa, Dr. Mridula Sinha on Women's Day 2018, felicitated by Sadhguru Vamanrao Pai for contribution to society in 2011, Best Actress Award by Kala Academy and Gomant Vidyaniketan, Youth Icon Award by JC International. We are really fortunate to have her as a resource person. Now I request Ma'am Sangeeta to kindly address our audience.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Supriya Desai. It was really nice to interact with you virtually after such a long time. and a very warm welcome to everyone who is attending this virtual online meet. I would request everyone whoever is listening and whoever is not going to speak right now to keep the microphones off, because we are many of us are here on the Zoom. So let us avoid disturbance and have a smooth interaction between us. First thing is, I'm extremely happy that it is the third time I'm being invited by KB Hedgewar High Secondary School. And it is always very nice to interact with the teachers, students, and the principal of this higher secondary school. As far as I know, KB Hedgewar Higher Secondary must be one of the very few higher secondaries in Goa who have done every possible activity which would happen when the physical schools were on during this entire pandemic time. And I understand it requires a lot of effort and systematic planning, and also that much participation by the teachers as well as from the students and their parents. So I'm very happy to be associated with Hedgewar High Secondary School once again, and also happy that the topic which is asked to talk today, which has made me also to think about it in a new perspective and to learn more. So it's an opportunity for me to grow today to deliver this lecture. So I would start by sharing my presentation, and then we can have the interaction. Pawan sir, I do not get the share option now.
Just move your cursor at the bottom of the screen.
Yes. I don't get. I just get invite. I think you have to enable me to share.
No, I actually did that. Multiple participants can share simultaneously.
I get reactions, record. Okay, got it now.
Is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible now. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sorry for the lag of time in between. Okay. This is evening time. This is the time when in our houses, in some houses even today or in the past, almost all the houses, this was the time to light diya, to light samai, to light panti in front of the God. This was a time for smaller kids, okay, to finish playing outside in the outdoors, come home, then clean your hands, wash your feet, and then come and sit in front of this diya and in front of the God. I also have a lot of childhood memories which are connected to saying this shloka, Shubham karoti kalyanam, arogyam dhana sampada, shatru buddhi vinashaya, deepa jyotir namostute. After this shlok, we would always follow reciting the tables, reciting the shlokas, reciting Ramaraksha, reciting Ganapati Stotra, Maruti Stotra. Followed by that, we would also recite every day the days of the week, the Indian months in the calendar from Chaitra to Falgun. We would say all 27 nakshatras from Ashwini, and then the 28th one called Abhijit. So all that what we learned in the childhood in front of God at this evening time is still intact in my memory. And this connects me to the lifestyle which I had in my native place in a village called as Rajapur. So each house, each village, each region has its own lifestyle depending upon what that person, what that family, or what that village is involved into. Accordingly, there will be a specific lifestyle. When I see this diya and the darkness and this shloka Shubham karoti kalyanam, I immediately recollect my grandmother shouting at that time when it is just about to be sunset. She would loudly shout in Marathi, "चला सगळ्या मुलांनी आता आज चला, दिवे लागणीची वेळ झाली." This Dive Lagnichi Ved in Marathi is the time when you light the lamp in front of God. So with that word, we would all rush inside, and then saying all these stotras and shlokas was never a burden, because all the kids would sit on the wooden swing, and as with the movement of the swing back and front, we would enjoy in chorus saying all these things. So this was part of our lifestyle. This is how our evening was. This is the nice time to interact with you all, which is the evening time. What is PPT? Is not interacting. Okay. So the topic which we are going to deal with today is holistic approach towards healthy lifestyle. स्वस्थ जीवन शैली के लिए समग्र दृष्टिकोण. If you see, I have put the word lifestyle in different colors for a specific reasons. So when we speak holistic approach towards healthy lifestyle, each word in this title has its own specific meaning. Let us first see now the word lifestyle. This I can break into two parts, life and style. Style is a well-known word for the young generation. I request people not to interactively draw anything on this PPT. That will add a lot of things on it, like how this yellow line has come now. Okay, so let us focus on the word style. For a teenager, for a college-going youth, word style reminds him the branded clothes, the branded shoes, latest bikes, latest cars, latest branded gadgets, electronic gadgets, and all sorts of things. He is also reminded of the style which is created by putting on makeup, by different trendy hairstyles, by having new fashion accessories. Then you are also reminded when you always connect a particular kind of preserved food, ready-made food, Western food, packaged food, ready-to-eat food, the beverages, and the style is to eat anytime, anywhere. Okay, this is in thing. This is a stylish thing. And since we have a lot of beverages, I think we have very low water intake. So when we say style, these things come to my mind. Then also when we say style, I am standing or sitting in a style with mobile in my hand, and I'm addicted to that mobile. I'm addicted to the social media platforms wherever I interact with people virtually. I am addicted to gaming. I'm addicted to selfie. Now, taking this selfie is not only with teenagers, people of all age groups are hooked on to taking selfie. Taking selfie is polishing, refining your own image using Photoshop, using filters, and posting it to the world to show that, see, this is my self-image which I want to post it to you. Okay, I am something different, but I'm creating my self-image, which I'm posting virtually. This is also a very strong addiction with many people. Then we are binge watching the web series. Sometimes we don't sleep at night. We start episode number 1, 5, 10, okay, till it's over. So binge watching is also done by all of us. So in this new lifestyle, okay, in our style now, since we are hooked on to laptop or mobile all the time, hooked on to the internet all the time, there are no sports. There is a lazy luxury life. There is sedentary life. You don't get up from your chair or your bed, and whole day you are just sitting. You may get up only for having food or only for giving the outputs of after digesting the food. Okay, then we have irregular sleeping patterns. Okay, now in style, or it is a use also, we all are used to cashless transactions, credit and debit cards, online shopping, pubs, casino, disco. These are the things in which we find, okay, we are stylish. Okay, if we are not doing this, there is something less in my style or less in my lifestyle. This is what we feel today. And the last thing is smoking, alcohol, drugs. Okay, smoking, alcohol, and drugs are the in things. Many a times, if someone is standing somewhere in style with one cigarette in hand, we find it very stylish. We want to imitate that person, or somebody, or having lot of knowledge about alcohol and how to make different drinks and blends out of it, how to make cocktails. Okay, people are fascinated with gathering this knowledge and then trying it out. Similarly, drugs. Drugs are also now being easily available in the nooks and corners of Goa too. So that is another thing with the peer pressure, or if you see so many other friends are doing that, we also feel it's okay to take the drugs. Okay, but when we hook on to all these things, including the smoking, alcohol, and the drugs, what happens is the style persists and the life ends. Okay. So if we do not want to end our life just for all these things, okay, then we have to look at the word lifestyle in a new perspective. So in the next slide, let's look at this word lifestyle. The term lifestyle was coined or introduced by one Austrian psychologist in the year 1929, and his name was Alfred Adler. It doesn't mean that the concept of having a peculiar way of living wasn't existing before that, but this term was introduced in 1929. Okay. Now, if you go to find what lifestyle means, you will find some popular perceptions, which I personally find very superficial. The way you live, including your style, attitude, and possessions, is your lifestyle. Another perception says the tastes, the opinions, the behavior, the actions of a person, of a group, or of a culture taken together makes lifestyle of that person, group, or culture. Now there is a big world of marketing, the world of economy, the world of corporate sector, the world of consumerism. Okay, here the marketing people are always doing the surveys to find out what the self-image of a group or section of society who would buy specific products and services. So their goal is specific. They want to sell their products and their services. So who would buy my products? So accordingly, they would tap different types of people in different communities, villages, urban setups, and see what is the self-image of those people. Okay, I will just give you one small example. In Goa, we all feel that yes, we are rich enough and we always demand a particular standard of living. So in my own higher secondary, I would see even the attendants are bringing a small four-wheeler. But when I go to Pune, to my college, even the senior most professors would come on a scooter, though they can afford a four-wheeler. But their self-image is not connected to bringing a four-wheeler to the workplace. So it is a self-image. Accordingly, you behave, your needs are set, and accordingly, the marketing people also are taking advantage of the self-image that you create. Now, I find one better expression about this word lifestyle, the consistent, integrated way of life that reflects the values and culture of a person or of a group. Now, the purpose of saying all this is not to bombard you all with the jargon of definitions or these adjectives, but I just want you all to focus on these few words. Some I have put in red box, some I have put in green box. Now I'm going to put these words in a funnel and filter them. And let's see, after filtering these words, what comes out. Okay, when I say style, okay, it's my deliberate attempt, okay, to walk in a specific way, to talk in a specific accent. I have my own mannerisms which I have developed, and I want to set my own style. Similarly, I carry my attitude. Now, what attitude I carry depends upon what image I want to create of myself. So if I am a grateful person, I may have a humble, grateful attitude, but I may also have the attitude which is of one-upmanship or looking down at other people. Okay, so or I may carry an attitude that I belong to a different class of people and you people are masses. That attitude also I can carry, or I can have the attitude of inferiority complex. Okay, so depend, that attitude also is part of my personality, and the possessions that I have, what I'm wearing, whether it's branded, what company, how rich the things are, what jewelry I'm wearing. So all the style, attitude, possessions are external things which are deciding my lifestyle. Okay, so let us see the next slide. There are two funnels. In one, I have put those red boxed words, and in another one, I have put the green boxed words. So your possessions, your attitude, and your style many a times creates a false self-image. Not always. Okay, but many a times we people behave the way in which we are actually not. Okay, and once we create a self-image, it always brings along with the stress of that image. I'll just put one small example. Suppose if I belong to a middle class family or a middle income group, but I want to show to the society that I am very rich, I come from very affluent family. Now, to create that image, I always buy the branded things. Okay, I carry that attitude that yes, I am somebody very superior, and I always walk in style, talk in style, and everything stylish that I do. Okay, and I always mix with people only of that particular cream of society because I want to create my self-image that I am a rich person mingling with rich people. Is it a true image? No, because at home, I know the reality. I belong to a middle class family. So I'm trying to create a false self-image. Now, if I have to maintain this image in society, which I have created of myself, I will have to always keep buying things and always keep maintaining that style and that false attitude. And it is always a stress. Okay. Whereas if your lifestyle is not by these external things, but it is by your own integrity, your own set of values, morals, ethics, and the consistent way of leading life on a particular path based on the values, that decides your persona, and that is your true self. If you carry yourself what you are, if you are true to yourself, there is no stress in anything because you don't have to act out anything. You don't have to spend to create your image. It's your true self. So when we think of lifestyle, never think of a false self-image. Okay, maybe a small example of creating it by a selfie with filters and Photoshop. And I look so beautiful, which in reality I am not. Okay, that's also a smaller harmless thing of creating a self-image. Another example I'll give of myself. Suppose if I carry a burden of the image that yes, Sangeeta is a good orator. That means today I am stressed that my today's performance has to be good, has to be at par with my past performances. Otherwise, people will say, "Arey, she's supposed to be good orator. What she talked today? Nonsense." So, if I think all this, and if I have a burden of my past image as orator on my today's performance, I will be under stress. There will be a lot of anxiety of how I'm going to perform. But if I think that every day is a new day, every performance is a new performance, every topic is a new topic. So what happens today? What is going to happen today? Because it's true to what I am today. So when I say that, I am not stressed. Okay, I am free of stress. Okay, so the message that I want to give here is do not run behind a created self-image. Okay, it is always not false. Sometimes it is true. Okay, I will also give you one example. Many of you must be knowing the Infosys Foundation President, Sudha Murthy. When we think of the name Sudha Murthy, we don't think of her as a page 3 woman from an industrial house, flaunting her fashion and wearing all expensive gadgets. We don't see her on page 3s of those glossy magazines. But the moment we say Sudha Murthy, we remember lots of very, very interesting and lots of guiding books, story books, short stories, and also the creative writings that she has done and published in Kannada, Marathi, English, and which are also translated in so many Indian languages. We think of Sudha Murty as a philanthropist who has donated huge amounts all over India for developing libraries, for building schools and toilets, and anything and everything for education and for the children. So that Sudha Murty has a very simplistic way of living. So she won't have any branded possessions, or she won't boast her belongings to the world. She's not a page 3 person, but whole world knows her. So what I want to say is, you need not carry a false self-image. If you really are rich and if you like to wear all that, nothing wrong in that. Okay. If it's your true image that you are like that, go ahead with it. Okay. But if you are not like that, do not create a false self-image. This is what I want to say. Now let's come to the word before lifestyle. That word is healthy. When we think of health or somebody is healthy, okay, generally what comes to my mind is that person is active, is very physical, he is strong physically, his body is very agile, flexible, the person is energetic to do anything. He has a very positive attitude, always welcoming to do new things, okay, very efficient in the work, and the person is proactive. There is a difference in being active and being proactive. When you are proactive, you take the initiative and you make things happen. That's a proactive person. Okay. So in addition to this, when I think of a healthy person, I think of a very balanced personality, a person in a happy mood, the person who is very alert to what's happening around because he is not carrying any stress and any burden. So he's alert, he's in good mood, he's calm and composed. His expression is assertive and he has a welcoming personality. I also think of a healthy person that this person is having no pain, having no disease, having no body ache, having no distress. This person gets a sound sleep. He is mentally very sound. There is no mental illness, and this person has good immunity. So when I say a word healthy, I remember all these things. You also can add so many things which are coming to your mind. So overall, one small 3-letter word for this is, I say this person is very fit. Okay. So we go to the word fitness. Now, till very recently, there were a lot of fitness clubs, fitness parlors, gymnasiums, okay, fitness centers, which are now being called as wellness centers or wellness clubs. Okay. Why the boards have changed? Just because it is in fashion now, that fitness is an outdated word and wellness is a new in word or new in thing, or is it more fashionable? Let's see why the word fitness had changed to wellness, why the fitness industry has transformed into wellness industry. The word fitness always changed its meaning during the course of human evolution. When the man, thousands of years ago, was just a hunter and gatherer, when he had to, all the time his day was busy in hunting, running for it, climbing or swimming, all kinds of physical activities to hunt or to gather the food and also to protect from the predators. So he needed a lot of physical fitness, which was basically for the survival. Okay. Then the man settled, started farming, maybe dairy farming as well as agriculture. So he needed physical and social fitness. Why the social fitness comes in picture now? Since he is settled, since he has constructed, since he has constructed a small house, which is going to give him protection against the predators. Now 24/7, he doesn't have to be alert, keeping a watch on if any lion is coming this side or any bison is coming this side. That means he has now more free time with safe conditions. So this is the time then this man or the families or the people want to interact with each other, socialize with each other. But after doing the farming activities, if you are so much exhausted that you have no energy to talk to people in the house, that means you are not fit. So if you are fit enough, You will do your farming and you will also socialize in the evening, maybe in the community dances or any community chit chat which is happening under the banyan tree in the village, or people are gathering somewhere doing something. Okay, so all such socializing also needs fitness. Then came industrial revolution, and as the industrial development took place, there was one major thing. There was something called as service industry, which wasn't existing before. Okay, nobody would do the work but cannot show what I do. Like, I am a teacher, I'm providing a teaching service. A doctor is giving his service, or a chartered accountant is doing audit, or somebody is doing something. So somebody asks me, what do you do? Can I show any product that I have manufactured actually, physically? I cannot show, because we are all giving services. The nurse, the ward boy, okay, doctors, everybody is giving the service. So when the service industry came, along with industrial revolution, lot of different kinds of jobs were available. And then we had to be fit intellectually to do those jobs. So in addition to physical fitness and social fitness, I also now needed mental fitness, which is cognitive fitness or intellectual fitness, also emotional fitness to face the problems which are coming at the workplace. And now we are surviving, or we are living in a technological world, ultra modern world. And with the technological revolution, now we have a mobile in our palm or a laptop in front of us, and the internet is giving us any kind of information that I want 24/7. And now, in addition to physical fitness, social fitness, mental fitness, I also need spiritual fitness. Okay, what is the spiritual fitness and how do I become spiritually fit? Okay, we will discuss that in a short while. So, when it was the previous 3 phases of evolution of man, okay, the fitness was the word which would convey everything what we had to. Now, when there are 4 types of fitnesses, we call wellness. And this is the very reason now the fitness industry calls itself a wellness industry, because it looks after physical, social, mental, and spiritual fitness of a person. Now coming to a word, holistic approach. Holistic approach to healthy lifestyle. When I say holistic approach, I'm approaching to that person, to that situation in all possible ways, but together as one unit. I'm not considering part by part. Okay, to give a very simple and gross example, as a doctor, if I treat one finger, if I treat one ear, if I treat only the toe, okay, I'm treating my body parts. But if a doctor is treating me as Sangeeta, okay, till I say that I am feeling fine now. Okay, there is no body pain, there is no anxiety, there is nothing. I feel nice and healthy. I feel fit. So he has treated me holistically, not treated one part of me. Okay, the end result is I am completely feeling healthy and nice. So this is called as holistic approach. So if we want to have healthy lifestyle, what is that holistic approach? Okay, so to sum up the same thing what we discussed, to emphasize again in a different manner, it is physical, social, mental, spiritual fitness taken together, which is called as wellness, that is going to count as holistic approach for my healthy lifestyle. Now let's see one by one. Physical wellness, intellectual wellness, I'm not using the term fitness now, emotional wellness, social wellness, spiritual wellness. Okay, these are the things which we have seen so far. Now there are 3 more things which I'm going to add, which are the recent things because of the times and the kind of situations which are there around us. So there is financial wellness, there is occupational wellness, and there is environmental wellness. So in all these 8 dimensions, I can look at healthy lifestyle. Okay, so what is my physical wellness? My physical fitness with all its dimensions, my intellectual wellness with my cognitive abilities, thinking abilities, grasping the things. Okay, that is my intellectual wellness. Now, since I'm talking to students, okay, I want to have all of you one exercise. Okay, let us appreciate our brain. Okay, let us appreciate our brain. Now, all the students here of 11th and 12th are on this earth, say, for the past 17, 18 years, okay, 16, 17, 18 years. In these many years, or even other parents and everyone can think for whatever is our age, in those many years, how many people do we know? And we have their memory in our brain along with their name, their face, how they look, how they walk, how they talk, okay, and different incidents that we had with these people, different events, different experiences, all that is stored in our brain. How many thousand, 100,000 people it will be? Just imagine. Now try to recollect how many plants, how many animals, birds, insects, worms, so many different types of fish, okay, different types of sea creatures, all those that we remember, and we have them in our memory intact. How many different smells we remember, good and bad, okay? How many different touches we remember, okay? When we touch something, we can feel the texture of it, whether it is a smooth surface or a hard surface, soft surface, slimy surface. I can also touch and find whether it's a glass, wood, metal, or a living organism, okay? As a woman, I can also feel a good touch and bad touch by a man. So much power is given to us by all five senses. Okay, so I have viewed so many movies, so many pictures I have seen, so many images I have seen. Okay, so many dramas I have watched, so many books I have read, so many stories I have heard from so many people, so many textbooks I have read. So where is all that? It's there in my small tiny brain, protected inside my skull. Okay, in addition to this, just try to recollect how many different songs and types, genres of music that you remember, how many singers, actors, sports persons, so many types of people whom you have never met, but you have seen them on TV, in the newspaper, but you remember them. Not only that, you remember all the gossips, what happened between Anushka Sharma and Virat Kohli, or things like that. Okay, so much updated we are, and every day so much more we get from our surroundings. Okay, add to that all the experiences and events that we had since we are born. So the brain has got this much capacity. So let us appreciate our brain. Brain has its inherent way of processing the information. So today, if I know teacher Vinaya Honnikeri for the first time, I remember her name and I have seen her on the screen. So my brain has fixed her image connected to her name in a specific center. Now, tomorrow I know something more about her. My brain is going to store it in that particular center with connection to that. So the moment somebody says Vinaya Honnikeri teacher, I am going to recollect everything what I know about her because it is all stored by my brain connected to it. Okay, and it has automatically happened because I was interested. Now, since you all are students, I want to tell you, make a purposeful use of this ability of our brain, because when we read the textbooks and we have to remember things for the examination, not that all of us are willingly doing it or we find it very, very interesting, but we have to do it. So the key to remember things and do well in exams is the input that we have should be very, very categorical and specific. So if we develop the habit of making mind maps, making flow charts, or writing things or getting things from five senses, watching a video on that content, or all this what the teachers are doing for you all these days, making a PPT, talking to you, all this is to remember things in a better way, to understand things in a better way. Okay, now coming to intellectual wellness, if the brain is so powerful that we have, okay, give it a good input, it will give you a quick and efficient output. Okay. In addition to that, now let's come to the next one, emotional wellness. When I am emotionally well, I am balanced. I don't get disturbed by the emotional trauma or emotional disturbances. Okay, and generally my response to any situation will be very thoughtful. Okay, I will handle the situation in a better way. I will handle my emotions in a better manner, and I will also empathize with the feelings of other people. When it comes to social wellness, okay, for socializing, whatever approach we need to have in our personality, that will help us in social wellness. I'll read about it in the next slide. Spiritual wellness, as I said, for spiritual wellness, you don't need to sit at one place, start chanting mantra or perform the religious rituals. That is not what is meant by spiritual wellness. Of course, those are the ways, but spiritual wellness is basically understanding that our body has a natural tendency of doing a lot of movements and activities. Okay, whereas our mind has a natural tendency to become calm and peaceful. What we are doing now in this modern world, ultra modern world, our bodies have become sedentary at one place, and our mind is running super fast with the speed of light. Okay, surfing here, surfing there, this app and that website, and so many things. Okay, so we are doing exactly reverse to our body. Okay, and the mind. The mind should be at peace, but we are making it run. And the body should be running, active, doing things physically. We are keeping the body at one place, hooked onto the mobile or to the laptop or sitting leisurely in the sofa. Okay, so we have to reverse this. We should give what the body wants, we should give what the mind wants. And this can be done by practicing yoga, practicing pranayam, practicing meditation. So these three things are going to do what is happening opposite right now, and that is going to have spiritual wellness. Okay, now is it necessary to do only yoga? No, you can go to gym, you can go for Zumba, you can go cycling, you can go walking, you can do any kind of activity, jogging you can do, running you can do. Okay, all machineries you can use in a gym. Okay, and aerobics you can do. But yoga is one thing which does not require any instruments. Okay, and you can do it at home whenever you want, and it gives you the maximum benefit in addition to achieving concentration, focus, and the flexibility to all your muscles. Oxygen is supplied to all the body parts, and when you do the pranayama, also again there is good supply of oxygen. We are training our lungs to manage its volume in a better way. Okay, so that's a spiritual wellness which we can try through yoga, pranayam, and meditation. Or if you find this as something very difficult task, which even I will find, not that I have a moral authority to tell you to do meditation, which I have not managed to do. Okay, but to put it in a simple words, my spiritual wellness is my ethical behavior, is my moral behavior, is my behavior or actions which have a firm foundation of certain values. I do not harm other people. I am grateful to what I get from this world. And at the same time, I have an attitude of giving back to society. So that living is a spiritual living. Okay, it's well and good, but yoga each one of us should do. Okay, yoga and pranayama, and our effort should be to be able to meditate in future. Okay, because life is a continuous growth process. I am growing, you are also growing. I am few years ahead of you doesn't mean that if by age I am ahead of you, I may not be spiritually well, but a child amongst you who is just 16-year-old may have that spiritual mindset. Okay, so it has nothing to do with the age. Now coming to the financial wellness, we have to have the know-how of today's financial world. Occupational wellness is getting ready for your workplace, and the environmental wellness is the new thing which has come now. Okay, so with this, I just move on to the next slide, looking at the time. So environmental wellness is a symbol of green lifestyle. So one more word is being coined now, green lifestyle. So in addition to having healthy lifestyle, we should be also having green lifestyle. Now, talking about the holistic approach towards healthy lifestyle, okay, it means we are talking about well-being, So let me just sum up for you all, okay? Each type of well-being or fitness. So in case of physical wellness, how do I achieve the physical wellness? I should have good nutrition. What it means is I should have a balanced diet. I should have freshly cooked food, and I should have local food. Why local food? The local food is also connecting me to the green lifestyle because it has not traveled distances. So food is fresh, the vegetables are fresh, the grains are fresh. Secondly, it is reducing the carbon footprint because the transport is going to have carbon emissions which are reduced. It is going to reduce the water footprint. Okay, so I have to eat local food, freshly cooked food, healthy, balanced diet. In addition to that, I should be very careful about the presence of microbes in my food and inside my body. Okay, I shouldn't say inside my body. Microbes are part of our body. And now there is a realization over the last 10-15 years that it's not that there are few E. coli cells and few bacterial cells present inside me, but if my body is made up of, say, 30 trillion cells, equal number of microbial cells are present making my body. They may be present on my skin, in all these ears and nose, or they may be part of my organs inside, but they are living with me symbiotically. Many of them are helping me to produce vitamins. Many of them are helping me mutually to create certain things useful for my body, and they are also playing role in boosting my immunity. Okay, so we should be aware of these microbes, and all of them taken together is called as microbiota. And now a lot of study is going on because there was a Western thought which carried in the medical world for 150 or 200 years that germs means pathogens. Germs are bad. We should be very clean. Don't put your hands in soil. Okay, don't touch any surfaces. Don't touch cow dung. Okay, all that is very dirty. It is all having germs, and germs means bad. No. Now the Western world is also understanding that all the germs are not bad. Many of the germs are our friends and they are part of our body, and we cannot wash off all the germs. Those germs are needed for us. Okay. So to boost our immunity, it is not only the nutrition, but also the yoga and the pranayam, which is also going to help us boost our immunity, which is very important in this pandemic times. We should have certain amount of rest. We should have proper sleep. And in today's times, our eyes also need proper rest because they get fatigued looking at the screens all the time. Okay, and most important thing, no tobacco, no alcohol, no drugs. So that will maintain your physical wellness. Now I'm taking intellectual, psychological, emotional wellness together. How do we achieve that? Our thought process should be proper. It should be rational thinking. Our actions and behaviors should be composed, and our actions and behavior should be based on certain set of values that we have. Okay, we should be creatively thinking. We should be doing innovation at intellectual level. Okay, we should, how to do it as a student? Okay, make mind maps or create new things, devise new experiments. Okay, give categorical inputs to your brain so that your intellectual wellness is improved. Read a lot, revise the things, try to know new things, and respond to the given situation in a proper, balanced manner. Handle your own emotions and emotions of your family members, friends, or your or the people in your vicinity in a better manner, and respect your own feelings, empathize with the feelings of other people. This is how we can manage this intellectual, psychological, emotional wellness without having stress of anything. Social wellness, we have to meet new people. We have to nurture relationships for which we should be encouraging, we should be supporting, we should have good communication with the people with whom we are having kind of friendship or other kind of relationships, or maybe we are colleagues at the work. Okay, we have to keep trying new things and do a lot of teamwork. Okay, that is automatically allowing us to socialize. We should be approachable so that people come to us. I request this person, Akshat Bhobe, not to do anything on the screen, please. Okay, all these things we have to do, have a proper physical socialization, which is not possible due to pandemic, but soon we hope that everything will be fine and we are able to mingle with people, we are able to travel, we are able to make different programs, okay, have sports on the ground and a lot of other things. Okay, coming to spiritual wellness, I have spoken a lot about it. So I'll just say it should be our behavior based on values, morals, ethics. There should be attitude of gratitude. We should be able to do selfless work. Anything and everything when we do, we should not ask, what will I get? Okay, it is not necessary that you should be cracking these deals every time. You can just help somebody without expecting anything return, okay, in return. Okay, yoga and meditation is your way towards having spiritual wellness. And the last thing which I have put in all capital letters, active body and peaceful mind is your mantra of having spiritual wellness. Then for occupational wellness, we should follow proper work ethics. We should have proper work culture. We should do skill development. We should know time management. We should do upskilling and updating our knowledge. And we can also be very enterprising, can think and dream of being businessmen, have new startups, and be entrepreneurs. So all this is your occupational wellness. Financial wellness, you should keep a know-how of all income tax on your income, how your salary is calculated, or if you are into business, how the things are happening, how the accounts are kept. Okay, we should also learn to grow our money by investing, save certain percentage of it for future, plan for future, and what I have put in the uppercase letters, donate. Okay, part of our income every year has to be given back to society, to somebody or some organization who is in need. Now, if you think that, no, I am a middle class or I am not so rich, okay, so there are people who are mine owners or industrialists, they should donate, I should not. It's not like that. Or sometimes we think that, okay, wait for a few more years, I will collect a lot of wealth and then I will donate. It doesn't happen. That giving back should start simultaneously. The moment you finish your student age and enter the adulthood, you start earning, okay, maybe in small percentage, may not be money, maybe in kind, maybe your talent, maybe your help, maybe your physical work, anything and everything you can give back to society. What you have to decide, but do not wait for 20 years, then I will help. No, it doesn't happen. So develop that habit. And last is the environmental wellness. Reduce your ecological footprint by reducing carbon footprint, water footprint. So for that, the mantra is local things. Okay, have local things, be vocal for local. Okay, and also use very less resources. Okay, don't consume more resources, and whatever activities you do, see to it that you don't create many harmful waste products. Okay, this is how you can have a green lifestyle. So coming to the end, basically when we think of life in this word lifestyle, okay, I read at one place a very, very nice and simple thing. What is our life? The journey of our life from the first breath till our last breath can be summed up in 2 words. It's a journey from a word koham. Now, pardon me for not putting that avagraha after ko. It is koham, okay? So that avagraha, I didn't get the symbol. So koham, it's asking a question, who am I? Okay, and in the whole life, when I'm leading my life in a nice way with spiritual, physical, social, emotional, intellectual wellness, okay, I should be searching the answer for koham. who am I, why am I born, what is my duty, or what am I supposed to do on this earth. Okay, so thinking that gaining the wisdom or converting the information and knowledge and understanding into the wisdom is our journey, which should, okay, I'm saying should, which should give us the answer. So hum, saha aham. Okay, here again the avagraha is missing. So the life can also be defined as it's a journey from koham to soham. Okay, and in this life, how you deal with, whether you look at superficial style or you are looking at your integrity in the personality, that is everybody's decision. Okay, there are only 4 minutes left. Can I explain this concept of 4 ashramas in short, Vinaya teacher?
Yes, yes.
Okay, we have heard of 4 ashramas, okay, which were prevalent in ancient India, okay, and we say Brahmacharya ashram, Gruhasthashram, Vanaprasthashram, Sannyasashram. Okay, if you take the literal meaning or what people would do in each ashrama in those days, okay, that was different. But today, what meaning we should take from these 4 ashramas, and we actually take, okay, irrespective of which religion we belong to, but all Indians know one thing, okay, that a particular part of life when you are studying, okay, you are not supposed to indulge into the activities which you are supposed to do after getting married. Okay, then when you get married, you are going to behave as the adult man with a family. Then you are going to have children. Okay, you are not going to be a mother before getting married. You are not going to be a father of a child just because you wanted to take all experiences in life beforehand. Okay, and then you become mother, or father even before you reach 18 years of your age. Okay, so you have experienced what motherhood is, you have experienced the other adult part of life. Okay, and then when you grow up, now you have to do earning. Okay, that you do. So you have finished taking experiences in life. So what is being kept for you? A big vacuum in future, because instead of taking step-by-step experiences, as these 4 ashramas tell us, okay, we have to follow that thing. Okay, and it's not only for the children, it is for everybody. Okay, after the Gruhastha-ashrama, okay, you are supposed to have Vanaprasthasrama. As the word says, you have to make your prasthana to Vana or the jungle. But we don't expect in today's world to do that. What it means is we should take away our mind from the day-to-day household things. We should stop controlling the activities in the house. That should be done by the grown-up children and grandchildren now. Okay, so if we stop taking decisions for the family in our old age, everything will go smooth. And then our journey towards spirituality or sannyas ashram, that is everybody's choice. But as a student, we should know this in principle. And my request to you all is, do not try each and everything now itself. There is no need. Okay, keep certain things, keep some dreams. Okay, after I get a job, then I will get married. Have some dream. After I get married, I will have children. I will enjoy being father or mother. Have that dream. So do the things step by step. That is the key to healthy life. And you always have some healthy goal to fulfill. Do not finish off everything and then hook on to the drugs. Please don't do that. Okay, and then in the end, I would say, in Konkani, in Marathi, or even in Kannada, there is a nice word for mother. Okay, we call her Ai. A stands for Atma, that is your soul, and E stands for Ishwar, the God. Okay, so I means Atma and Ishwar. So I would just like to say that Atmastha Ishwar ka Prakatikaran. Okay, that is our journey of Koham to Soham. If we do this, okay, what will happen? Vyakti ka vikas ho jayega, परिवार सशक्त बनेगा, समाज जागरूक होगा, देश बलवान होगा और विश्व बंधुता फैल जाएगी. वसुधैव कुटुंबकम, ये जो हमारा भारतीयों का जो नारा है, परंपरा से चलता हुआ जो हमारा एक एटीट्यूड है, वो पूरे विश्व की अच्छाई हम चाहते हैं. तो उसके साथ पहली स्टेप ये है कि हमारे अंदर झांकना जरूरी है, खुद को, अपनी इंटीग्रिटी और अपना लाइफस्टाइल अच्छी तरह से करना है. We don't have to go for superficial things, or even if we are doing that just to be with the times, we have to remember that my self image is not me. Okay, I am something inside. So please focus on yourself, your true self, and do not fall into the trap of a false self image. Have a stress free life, have a life with all your wellness and healthy lifestyle. Okay, thank you so much. Be well.
Sangeeta, thank you very much for making such a vast topic within 1 hour. You very nicely explained to us, and within a very given time, you completed it. And now I request my colleague, Ms. Sneha Pednekar, teacher, to propose formal vote of thanks. Over to Sneha Pednekar.
Thank you, Vinaya.
Teacher Sneha Pednekar.
Yeah, ma'am, just a minute. Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes,
Vinaya?
Sneha. Yes, continue.
It is said that the most grateful way of ending something is by expressing gratitude. Good evening to all. I, Ms. Sneha Pednekar, am here to propose the vote of thanks for today's function. The function has been a great success due to the presence of our keynote speaker, Ms. Sangeeta Abhyankar ma'am, for a presentation of the topic, which is the need of the hour. Ma'am, we thank you for considering our request and making the function an informative one. Next, I would like to thank our manager, Desai sir, for his support. I would further thank the principal of our institution, Shri Deepak Amonkar sir, for his constant guidance and support in all the holistic activities for our students. Next, I would like to thank the teachers and the non-teaching staff for their presence for the function. I would thank our students for their presence via Zoom and YouTube and hope that they follow the tips given during the talk. Lastly, I would like to thank my mastermind committee members and the sports committee members for taking up this topic and working towards making the function a success. Thank you all. We may now leave the meet. Have a fine evening.